What is your number one tip for other authors? That is a question that I asked a best-selling author years ago, and it is a question that I often am asked myself today. And so I thought I'd share with you a little story about that. Uh, back in, I don't know, I want to say 2006, maybe 2007. Uh, my children, two of them, were actors, and we were on a movie set with my youngest son, Andrew. And I came to learn that another person who was working on the movie, her name is Suzanne Brockman. I found out that she was not only an author but a best-selling author. I asked her. I told her I was working on writing. I was actually working on writing this book right here, which was all about our journey when our 4-year-old son was diagnosed with brain cancer. And I had asked her, what is your number one tip? Like, what if out of all the things that you've learned, because she has literally written dozens and dozens of books. She's been on the New York Times bestseller list. She's been on the USA Today bestseller list. She's won awards. And so I figured this was a good person. She'd written a lot of books at that point. I don't know how many more she's written since then. But I figured this was a great person for me to ask. And I'd come to, I'd been going to a lot of writing conferences. I had gotten to know a lot of best-selling authors and agents and publishers and things of that nature. And so it became commonplace for me to ask, what's your number one tip? And hers stuck with me over all these years. Hers stuck with me probably because, well, I implemented it when I wrote my own book. But I don't know, this one stuck with me, and it worked so well for me that when people say, what's your number one tip? It's my go-to. It's the one I think of. And so what she shared with me is that it's always great if you have a close circle of friends, and it doesn't have to be a lot, in 3 to 5 people. I think I used 5 or 6 when I was writing my book, who will, first of all, take the time to read what you write. And second of all, will give you honest feedback. Like, if it stinks, you want people that are going to tell you this isn't working. Because it doesn't do you any good if you put your book out there and nobody wants it and nobody likes it and then nobody buys it, or even if you're giving it away free, if they don't read it, what good is it? And so that was her suggestion, was that she had a close circle. I think she had 3 or 4 people who would read everything that she wrote as she was writing it. So she'd write a chapter, send it out, write a chapter, send it out. And then they would give her feedback on whether they liked the character, whether they liked the character's name, whether they thought the storyline made any sense, or whether it was realistic, or whether it was engaging, things of that nature. When I worked on my book, I actually had a little questionnaire that went out, because for me, it was really important for people to connect on an emotional level. I wanted to take them on the journey with me through the trials and through the wins of that time in our life. And so it was really important for me that I made it, that there was emotion, that they were connecting with it, that it was engaging, that it was interesting. Somewhere I have that list of questions, and maybe I'll post it on my blog or something. But it was just like 5 questions that I had that they would go through and answer, and it would tell me whether I was on point with where I wanted to take each of those chapters and ultimately the entire book. And my selection process for my particular book, because it was a memoir and because it is faith-based, I actually selected friends who were of different denominations within the Christian world. And it was 4 or 5 women, 1 man. And it was fabulous. It was a great way to get feedback, to make tweaks way before anyone else in the world saw it. And so that is my number one tip. If you can find a small group of trusted advisors who will read your material and give you honest feedback so that you can make tweaks, I highly, highly recommend it.